All the red shells and mushrooms in the world wouldn't help a driver who still has their training license. So feel proud when you wave that checkered flag. Those days when Mario Kart used to serve up first place on a silver platter have gone the way of the Virtual Boy. Now it takes raw skill and stubborn determination to rise above the madness. And the experience couldn't be better for it. I earned every one of my victories in Mario Kart 8 and took great pleasure in wiping that foolish smile off Donkey Kong's face. Turns in Mario Kart 8 beckon you to power slide, ramps urge you to boost off them, and performing tight maneuvers through the many snaking twists is a difficult endeavor that's immensely rewarding. The feeling of the ground beneath your tires, or hover pads when you ride up walls and ceilings, is so tight and immediate that you're one with the road. Your prize for braving the challenges? Loneliness. You can stay safely in first place once you've mastered the racing lines. Let everyone else battle for second. You see, those dastardly items that have been the scourge of my existence in previous Mario Karts have had their impact drastically reduced. Oh, there are still blue shells that punish those with talent, and lightning bolts that place a shrinking handicap on the entire field. But their effects aren't nearly as great as recent entries. If you're smart behind the wheel, a mere shell is little more than a speed bump, so don't be discouraged when you're struck. Skill being more important than items is true whether you're racing against a computer or a group of your friends. Sure, there are times when you're struck by a couple items in quick succession, but such moments of frustration are rare enough that you always feel in control. This emphasis on racing ability means that it's harder to come back once you fall behind. If you find yourself in the middle of a pack, there are so many items about that your rhythm is constantly interrupted, and there aren't any instant win items either. It takes a lot of effort to claw yourself back to the top, so my advice is to not fall behind in the first place. Mario Kart's racing is as good as the franchise has seen, and not just because your driving skills are so much more important than item luck. It's the feeling of rounding corners that's so exhilarating, of gliding through the air and deftly skirting hazards littering the ground. Earning boosts through turns requires steely concentration. The longer you hold your drift, the faster you shoot out of the turn. And it's a tense game of chicken pushing your rider to his, her, or its limit. As great as the racing is in Mario Kart 8, there are a couple head-scratching features that stand out like sore thumbs. Why, for instance, isn't there a clock in Grand Prix? Do we really need so many different kart parts? Who thought it was a good idea for the default option after a race to be View Highlight Reel? Oh, and of the 30 playable characters, there are 2 palette swaps, 5 babies, and 7 Koopa Kids. Very boring. One last complaint, and this is a biggie. Battle mode is pretty terrible. Instead of specially made arenas, you choose from 8 of the racing tracks. Driving aimlessly around trying to find your friends is the exact opposite of fun. Sure, the whole battle mode thing became passé a few years back, but having everyone fight on racetracks doesn't fix that. Alright, enough poking holes in this ridiculous game. Mario Kart 8 is an achievement because it's still as warm and welcoming as you'd expect, but isn't so desperate to be liked that it waters down the experience for those who don't need a helping hand. And the tracks demand precise driving, with shortcuts that only the most daring will consistently reach. There are some duds out there, such as Toad's Turnpike from Mario Kart 64, but most of the 32 are worth putting serious time into until you master their many turns. Nintendo has done a fine job of keeping Mario Kart relevant. How many franchises have remained in peak form for more than 20 years? Not many. I admit that in the early going, I yawned, it's more Mario Kart. But as I rose through the ranks and learned the courses, my tone shifted one of excitement. It's more Mario Kart! And I'm happy Nintendo hasn't forgotten what makes this series so darn fun.